I'm from the Student Accounts Office. My name is Laurent. Student Accounts is part of finance, but it's the part that deals specifically with student accounts. If you have other funding, as I referred to, scholarships and bursaries and government student loans that are going to help you pay your fees, then you may want to use a promissory note to get fees arranged instead of paying in full. I'm going to ask you now if you can answer the question that's showing up now. Do you have anticipated aid showing on your student account now? There are lots of different types of funding that show up as anticipated aid. One would be if you've already been approved for OSAP funding from the Ontario government or the Canada Student Loan portion of that. If you have a scholarship that you qualified for, President's Scholarship, an Entrance Scholarship, then that's going to be showing right now on your student account as anticipated aid, which is an important part of how you can do the promissory note very easily. Doing a promissory note allows you to defer paying the portion of your fees that you have funding for. So what you're doing with the promissory note is demonstrating to us that you have funding for part of your fees and you only need to pay the rest. So what kind of funding can you use on a promissory note? It's not everything. We've got them listed up there on the screen. There's scholarships from the university, scholarships that come from an external source, but they have to be payable to the university. Some of you may have earned scholarships from foundations or from your high school, and the important key part of that is the scholarship payable to you or to us? If it's payable to you, then you can't use it, but if it's payable to us, you can use it. Tuition benefits, if your parent is an employee of the university, then you are entitled to a portion of your tuition being covered by a tuition benefit. There's a process for them to follow, which is outlined, the instructions for that on our website, and your parent will need to fill out a tuition benefit application, but then your tuition benefit amount will then show up as anticipated aid on Quest as well. Third-party sponsorships, that's not just anybody that you know that wants to pay your fees. It's actually an approved relationship with the university where we send invoices to the sponsor at some point during the term. So if you're not sure if somebody qualifies as a third-party sponsor, then you need to let us know. As a rule, they are foreign governments that are funding students. Some of the First Nations Aboriginal bands in Canada are also in that group. And so if you have a question, email us at studentaccounts@UWaterloo and we can tell you if your group qualifies as a third-party sponsor. Of course, OSAP, as I referred to earlier, other provincial student loans or student loans from the government there will not show up as anticipated aid, but you can still use them on a promissory note. And that's the key ingredient for this group, I would think. So there are instructions on the website on how to fill out the promissory note. A tuition benefit is something that someone has asked about on the chat room, and I'm going to explain it one more time. If your parent is an employee of the university, then your parent can claim a tuition benefit, and the benefit then gets transferred to you, and you can use it to pay your fees. So if you are, are there any of you out there who have a parent who works for the university? I don't know if you can type it into the chat room to say that yes, your parent is an employee. But if that's the case, then your parent's going to have to fill out an application, and that application is available on the Finance Student Accounts website. It is an online form. There's no paper involved, Once your parent fills that out and submits it, then within 2 business days, you'll be able to see the amount of tuition benefit you qualify for showing up as anticipated aid on your Quest account. Great. Okay, now how to submit. Oh, I forgot. I need to let you know that there are some things you cannot use on a promissory note. You can't use the promissory note for the funding from an RESP. As I mentioned, for external scholarships that are payable directly to you. For employment income, so if you've got a job and you say, I'm getting paid next week or next month or monthly, you can't use that on a promissory note. Employer reimbursements, generally speaking, those are reimbursements at the conclusion of a course, so we don't accept those. Foreign government student loans. If you're actually from another country and you've obtained student loan funding from that country, unfortunately, that's not acceptable on a promissory note either. And international scholarships. So if you've earned a scholarship in another country, you can use the money that you get, but you cannot use a promissory note to defer payment to wait for that money. So now, how to submit your promissory note. The promissory note is very easy to submit. Sometimes it's harder for me to explain it than it is for you to actually do it. It's really very straightforward. And we have instructions, step-by-step instructions right on our website. That's a picture of our homepage. And I've circled in red that one of the tabs right on the homepage is where you would go to find step-by-step instructions on how to complete the promissory note. It's actually the promissory note. In addition to finding instructions on our website, you can find a whole lot of other information and a way to contact us. So if for some reason you don't get the instructions or you have questions before you go in to actually submit the promissory note, you can certainly contact us by the Contact Us form. You can send an email to studentaccounts@uwaterloo, or you can actually call in. That's not the best way to get fast response, but it can be done. So once you are ready to submit your promissory note, log into Quest, go to the Finances section, and there, where everything else is the promissory note. So you're going to click on the promissory note, and there will be a number of screens, and it will show you the anticipated aid that you have on your account. And then it will give you an opportunity to, if you still have a balance owing, upload proof of payment or proof of additional funding. So this is where you would upload a screenshot of a bank payment you've made for the rest of your fees, or you would upload proof of that other external scholarship that you earned that's payable to the university, and so on. And in the end, at the end, you're going to make a financial agreement. Click a checkbox and then hit submit, and then you're done. It's really quick. In fact, if you have everything ready, you can do it in less than 60 seconds. So review the instructions first, and it will make it that much faster for you.